You sit down in front of a piece of paper, ready to start your new artwork. However, maybe this paper stays blank for a while. Or maybe you scratched out your first 100 attempts out of frustration. Either way, you start to feel that you are lost in both direction and your skill level as an artist. A second instance, you post your work online, or you are about to do so. You decide to take a look at your social media before you do, maybe to see what's a good time to post, or to see what everyone else is doing. You start to realize you don't have as many followers, likes, or support as other people do. Or maybe someone got into a dream job, or is working on a dream commission that you always wished you could do. You start to tell yourself, I shouldn't let this get to me. These feelings of envy and anger, I'm better than this. But you do start to care. You wonder what happened to when you enjoyed sharing your art with others blissfully. Or maybe you finally finish a big animation or comic project. Everyone in your close circle of friends loves it and is excited to see more from you again. But is this real? Is this a dream? Is this as good as you're going to get? Would things be better if you continue? Would things be better if you stop? If you become too successful, will your friends start to leave you? Suddenly, you aren't sure if you want to be successful in your pursuits. Hello, my name is Stray Bard Art, and today I want to talk about making yourself proud as an artist. Art can really be a fulfilling career and a hobby, and at the same time, I see a lot of artists struggling to feel proud of the work they do, or being proud of the communities they're in, or even proud of their own success. While we go over these, feel free to enjoy this speed paint of two Repfolk brothers for a original tabletop RPG commission that I completed. Artists are like everyone else in that we can feel a sense of inadequacy before, during, or after we've completed something. Sometimes this inadequacy comes out as imposter syndrome, envy, anger, disbelief, or anxiety, no matter how much we've accomplished, or how brave we were to actually take the plunge into embarking on this project like a quest and seeing it to completion. Even typing up the script, I felt like an imposter and wondered if I was contributing anything to the art community, or if anyone would care. However, it's important to be proud of what you do and your accomplishments, no matter how small they may be. As an artist, you are the first person to see your work, and as an artist, you are also the first and sometimes the only person to see it to completion. Since you put so much love, effort, and time into your work, it's important to continue to love yourself and your work. Allowing these negative feelings to persist will eventually lead you to associate them strongly with art, and eventually you may begin to slowly and gradually avoid art altogether. I decided to go ahead with making the script because I realize everyone does have something to say and provide in their own perspectives, and I do hope I help you with some of the advice that I've learned over the years as an artist. If you feel like you can't get anything out on paper, or if you feel like your art is just stagnating and not improving, most will suggest this is a good opportunity to take a break and reflect, or even do something to recharge, such as watching your favorite TV shows, listening to a podcast, reading a book, going out for a walk. While these are all good suggestions, I want to also add, maybe save some time to look back on your old work or old sketches, both the good and the bad. It's important to remember that you are not a machine. You can't churn out art every day or every week or every month on a perfect basis. Being flexible with yourself and understanding that not every piece is going to be a perfect illustration, and that's okay. I kind of like to think of it in terms of Dungeons and Dragons D20 dice. Some days you're at 20, some days you roll a 17, some days you roll a 10, and it's kind of meh. And some days you roll a 1 and kind of wonder where everything went wrong. But one thing that I remember from this one Dungeons & Dragons player, Dr. Megan Connell, who uses Dungeons & Dragon as a form of therapy, she says, all sides of the D20 dice matter, not just the 20 out. And likewise, all of your artwork is valid too, even the bad ones. Of course, the bad ones may not be ones you want to share on social media, and that's fine. You can use it as a form of practice or a form of doodling. It's important to be accepting of not only the grand pieces you make, but also be aware that you may make not as grand pieces. Like maybe perhaps you were studying how to draw faces, and for some reason your character's noses come out weird. You may at first think that this is a completely useless artwork, it didn't do anything. Well, there might be some use. Maybe you created a new style of noses that would look good on a character. Or maybe you identified a weakness after multiple tries, and then you can focus on improving how you draw noses by looking at videos online as well as tutorials. Whatever it is, and I will bring in another D&D terminology. Once you feel like you have plateaued in terms of skill, that's a good opportunity to look back at how far you've come, as well as look forward to what you can improve and do better. Social media can be another factor in loving your work. When I first joined social media art groups 10 years ago, I was blown away by the idea that you could get exposed to new art 24/7 around the world. Almost 10 years later, I found myself taking more breaks from social media because of that very same reason. Constantly exposing yourself to others' art on social media without a clear focus or objective in mind, and without being conscious of how it makes you feel, can end up twisting your goals in a way you won't really benefit from, as well as twisting your perception of others. For instance, you may decide to unconsciously start chasing likes, followers, or levels of engagement. You may also start to develop an us versus them mentality with other artists. I've seen this a lot with small artists who will go after and harass big artists. I have some friends who will disagree with this notion, but I'm not afraid to speak it. Just because someone is a big artist does not mean they automatically deserve to be harassed, or that because they are a big artist they have malicious intent. It's important to hold an Uncle Iroh philosophy of drawing wisdom from many sources and realizing that every artist, big or small, digital or traditional, mentor or apprentice, realistic or fantasy, has a place in this world. Social media has all sorts of problems ranging from the algorithm to how it's messing up with our attention spans. I would also suggest taking some time to take a breather and reevaluate and examine your feelings. If it means unfollowing artists who make you feel jealous, or even not unfollowing them, but just muting them, or having just a space just to hang out, reconnect with each other, and to ground yourself back into the purpose of why you want to create. In some cases, I've even seen my friends make small discords which contain only 3 to 6 people, and they just chat, they share their work. It's all about designing the space around you to your objective, not the space around you defining your objective for you. Lastly, there is this sneaky, persistent troublemaker that every artist has faced at some point in their lives, and in some cases still do. It's imposter syndrome. You can end up downplaying your success, or even downplaying your skills, which in turn can result in you undercharging your commissions, maybe moving away from things that make you feel uncomfortable, but at the same time are probably necessary for your growth, such as introducing yourselves to an art Discord, or asking someone if they're interested to collab on a project, or even embarking on a 3-year comic project and asking your family and friends to just be understanding that you may not have as much time for them. But at some point or another, as an artist, we've probably been scared to stand up for ourselves and instead have this sinking feeling that we just aren't good enough and don't belong here, and no one's interested in us, even if we were to do a really good job. I felt like this during the days leading up to my comic and even afterwards, of, oh man, this comic is going to reach so many people and it's going to disappoint them. That's not what happened, and I acknowledge that feeling. But at the same time, I took some measures to not let that feeling control me. I realized that if I was going to let my feeling kind of control me, I probably wouldn't have gotten the comic out at all. I probably would have avoided working on future comic projects, because I would always be thinking about how scared I was of it. And in some cases, sometimes I don't feel good enough because I'm not doing enough as an artist during a particular week. Last week, I had problems with my car. I also had a really busy work week, and I had to help my brother fix his computer. And then when we couldn't fix it, we had to spend some extra time searching for some new ones, which involved learning about computers and what would work best for him. And at the end of the day, I still have to remind myself that even if I didn't draw this week, that doesn't mean I'm not an artist. It could mean that maybe in the future, there'll be a better week waiting for me, and I'll be able to do more artwork then. The thing that's nice about being an artist is that it's not a role that anyone decides whether or not it's valid for you. It's one where you decide it's valid to you. Building these kinds of positive feedback loops of reminding yourself that you are valid as an artist, that it's exciting to do art, and that you have so much to create and give to the world is very necessary, since letting imposter syndrome fester can create negative feedback loops. Say, improving your art makes you uncomfortable. You may decide, well, I'm not good enough with art, so I'm just going to play some video games until I feel better. And then next day comes and you're thinking, well, I'm gonna keep playing video games until I feel better again, and maybe then I'll do art. And eventually you start to associate art with discomfort, and you just start to avoid it more and more. And you can even substitute art with anything else, like college applications, or making a podcast, or learning how to DM. And setting up positive feedback loops can help counter that. Track how much time you spend on art. Decorate your workspace with positive affirmations or things that inspire you. Use things like games, movies, and TV shows you enjoy as rewards for doing a good job that day, doing what you sought out to do, be it art, learning a new skill, finishing an application. And you may notice that I talked about all the things that can hinder you from being proud, but then once all those things are out of the way, then what makes you proud as an artist? Well, it's you. You can take pride in knowing there's no one else quite like you. There's no one else that has done your drawings like you. You can take pride in knowing that you've created something from your mind and have shared it with the world. And it doesn't have to be on social media. It can be with a few friends or family members. You could even just make some artwork for yourself like I do sometimes and just don't really share it with the rest of the world just because maybe it's a doodle, maybe it's just not social media ready, or maybe it was just a fun experiment. Remember, you are more than just your thoughts, feelings, and progress on your artwork. I am sure that you will go on to create amazing things. This is Straight Bard signing off. Enjoy the rest of the speed paint, and feel free to check out more of my vlogs and speed paintings on my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you later.